You know what? I got a question for you guys. Do you guys know the difference between somebody who has knowledge and somebody who has wisdom? Because there's such a big difference between those two things. The same amount of difference between somebody who is rich and somebody who is wealthy. And I'm going to use Chris Rock and what he said about it. He said Shaquille O'Neal is rich, but the person that writes Shaquille O'Neal's paycheck is wealthy. I'm not going to talk about the racism and everything that he put into it, but that is a fact. If you're working for somebody, you can never be anything more than rich. I don't care how much money you make. All you damn celebrities and football players and everything. You will never be more than rich if all you do is get your paycheck from your boss. Now, the one difference between Shaquille O'Neal, Michael Jordan probably falls in the same category as Shaquille O'Neal, and I'm sure a few of them did. Matter of fact, the one that crashed in the helicopter and died, if that's what really happened. I know Shaquille O'Neal's a Freemason. He bragged about it. He showed the ring. Now they also have video of him sitting in a. He was doing one of them sports shows where there's three or four of them sitting there, and he's sitting there with a blank look on his face. Didn't know where he was. Didn't know what was happening, and it happened. He sat there like that for about a minute and a half to 2 minutes before he came out of it. Was that? I think that was after he became a Freemason. Today, you can hear him bragging all over YouTube and everything else how he owns the rights to Elvis and a few other, I believe, I think even Michael Jackson. I'm not even for sure. I ain't going. I know he said he claims to own Elvis. I think the other one was Michael Jackson. I'm not sure, but he was saying even if his uh, Shaquille O'Neal brand died, he still had these other brands to live off of. His family will live off of Elvis Presley. He owns the rights to Elvis Presley. Every time you hear an Elvis Presley song, Shaquille O'Neal gets paid. Um, that's getting less and less the more you go along. But when you're Shaquille O'Neal and you can get yourself in commercials and everything else, well, you can get on there and start bringing old Elvis music back, if you know what I mean. Those are called the luxuries of the. Oh, wait a minute. I think some of you people call that white privilege. It's just one thing. How did Shaquille O'Neal get it? I think that you could actually call that white privilege. I don't know how this shit works, people. I'm still trying to figure out what you guys all believe in, what man has told you. I've been fighting this shit for years. But it sounds like to me Shaquille O'Neal now has white privilege. especially if he can live off of Elvis. Him and his family can live off of anything Elvis. He owns the rights to Elvis Presley. Come on. I think Michael Jackson owned those rights before he died. But I'm not going to say I'm right about that. But I did hear Shaquille O'Neal say he owns the right to Elvis and a few other things. I'm just not going to claim what them other things are. But I even think he's claiming he owns Michael Jackson rights too. So if this man is telling the truth, then he's no longer rich. He's wealthy, which means your family will still have the same money you had generations from now. That's the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and the Chase and all your big bankers. But Shaquille brags about being a Freemason. So, if he is, he's made his deal, and he signed his contract in blood. So he's going for this world, and that's a fact. But let's get back. I was using him because of Chris Rock and the fact that Chris Rock said, Shaquille O'Neal at one time when he was playing basketball, he was rich because he was, I don't know, was he being paid $50 million a year to play basketball or something? I don't know in his contract, but he was being paid millions. But Chris Rock said he was rich, but the guy that was signing his paycheck was wealthy. Well, that's the difference between people that have knowledge and the people that have wisdom. It's the same difference, folks. It don't matter at a young age. You can cram your head full of everything you can cram your fucking head full of. The most you will ever have is knowledge. Because wisdom comes from time, experience. Well, I don't want to say it like that, not time. Because time is a concept. It's not real. So I'm going to say experience and age. Because it takes you time to get the experience of something that by the time you're done with it and you can really know what you're talking about, there's ages behind it. Just like with your unions, folks. I worked in the unions when I was younger, and I was a house painter and shit. A journeyman painter had to have at least, I think at that time it was at least 4 or 5 years. I think it was 4, but I want to say 5, but I'm going to stick with 4 because my brain's pretty good. But you had to have at least 4 years of being a prepper. Somebody who's taping and papering and scraping and cleaning and doing everything you need to do before the paint ever hit the wall or the floor or the ceiling or whatever you was painting. There were people that had to prep that shit. Well, you had to do that shit according to the union for at least 4 years or 5 years. 4 or 5 years, folks. I'm tired of arguing with my own brain. 4 to 5 years before you could be considered a journeyman painter. Because if you couldn't prep the damn thing, the paint you was putting on it wouldn't do you a damn bit of good. But chances were, as you were being considered a prepper, they'd tell you, okay, you got the scraping done. And people, I was the kind of boss that if there was scraping going on, I was scraping with you. We went through stages. You had to scrape, or if it was going to be power washed, you power washed it first. If the damn shit If that didn't take it off, you took scrapers to it. If that took it all off, if not, you took some damn sandpaper to it if it was real bad. I mean, usually facial boards and stuff. But wood. But siding and stuff, if it got that bad, you just you get the customer replace the siding. But that's the hardest part of it, folks. Prep work. The prepping of the painting of the house is the hardest part. But coming in painting it, hell. After it was taken papered off, hell, I could come in with a spray rig and I could paint a 2-story house in 2 days. Be a fucking, let's just say a 3,000 square foot house. Once them guys got the whole outside prepped and ready for me to spray, I could walk around it in a day. Or the only reason it would take me 2 days is because I was having to deal with boxing paint together or whatever for the spray rig because they didn't understand how to do that or whatever. I would deal with my own spray rig. I did all my own cleaning of the rig. I cleaned my own spray guns. Nobody touched my spray shit because sometimes it was my dad's stuff, and my dad was hard to deal with. And so he made me clean shit, my own shit, afterwards, the way he made me clean his shit. So I didn't let people fuck with my spray equipment. So I did all that. So it'd take me a little bit longer I'd set up my own shit. I'd box my own paint. I wanted it right. I wanted the thickness right. I didn't want no problems when I'm running the spray rigs and shit. And I could come in there and blow this shit out, no problem. And but that come from knowledge or wisdom, folks, not knowledge. Knowledge was my dad telling me, okay, you come over here and you take this scraper and you scrape it up and down until you knock off all the loose shit. That's called knowledge. Now the fact that after, probably 2 days, you're scraping, caulking, and puttying, that's called knowledge, but you're working on a little bit of wisdom. By the time you get done scraping, caulking, puttying, sanding, getting it all ready to be painted, you get it all taped off, or paper and taped off stuff you don't want to paint. That is still all knowledge. You still don't know the whole job. Then you watch me or the next guy, or maybe you do it. Maybe you're being trained to do it now. So then they put a spray rig in your hand, or a roller and a brush or whatever. I don't know. Today, when me and my dad trained me. We were trained, if you were rolling and brushing, you didn't need to do no taping and papering if you used the right equipment. And you didn't. We did it for 10 years straight. I did it for another 15 after he taught me how to do it. But if you spraying, you taped and papered every damn thing off. So we really, on the inside, we did. How did I get on painting houses? I don't want to talk about this shit. That was another lifetime I had. I want to get back to damn knowledge and wisdom. Whew. Now, see, everything I just talked about, that's called wisdom. It's called experience. It's called 25 years of time being involved in something. They throw you people up. They throw people up in front of you that they claim, oh, this is Professor so-and-so from Harvard University, and she's the senior professor of this school, and here she is, her name is whatever, and she's 29 years old. and you guys want to believe everything she says. This, I don't care if she's 49 years old. Most of these people that are in these colleges teaching this shit, they teach because they cannot do. They can make more money doing most of the things they teach if they were good at it. But they ain't no good at it. So they get hired on by a school to teach how to do it. I know this because I went to school with I went to college and I had 10 years on half my damn teachers when I went to college in Tempe, Arizona. And I was going to school. How do you guys keep getting me off the subject? Knowledge and wisdom. People, I don't care what you've been taught in a college or high school or whatever. When you come out of either one of those places and you start putting that knowledge, not wisdom, because you're being taught until you have been doing something for a while. You cannot have wisdom over it. Knowledge is taught. That's the beginning of something. Wisdom comes from working it for many years. This is why when something major happens, in most places, when I was growing up, I guess, and living life, because today it ain't true. But it used to be, hell, I've worked in equipment in Florida, down Florida. How did I get back up? Man, I want to quit talking about myself. I'm trying to talk about knowledge and wisdom. Wisdom, even somebody who has been teaching you something, if they're not doing it, they are not gaining knowledge or wisdom. All they're doing is teaching you knowledge. They're not teaching you wisdom. I used to have this guy. He would look at me, and I hope I didn't tell this already, but I might have. But he would look at me and say, this was when I was a kid, and it was something about my car or something. And he'd go, let me show you something I learned back in WW2. In World War II. It was something he learned while he was in the war. And he would show me something. And I was like, I'll be damned. And I started saying that to people. And I heard it as a kid. And I'd say it mainly to my son. I'd say it to him. And he finally, after he heard me say it a bunch of times. And he was like, you wasn't ever in World War II. He finally realized. Because I'd look at him and I'd say, come here, let me show you something I learned back in WW2. It's the same thing this old man used to tell me. And I'd go, you know what, if you do this and this and this, and I'd show him something, For a long time, he didn't know. I don't know if he didn't know what it meant or he was young. But one day he called me out on it. You wasn't in WW2. That was funny, man. I laughed. And I finally had to tell him. No, I said, you know what? I said, that was something this old guy used to tell me all the time. Let me show you something I learned back in WW2. All hell, people. I don't even know where I'm going. I'm 20 minutes in. Oh, hell, I was talking about, I got to get back on subject. My mind, people, you got to keep up with me. I'm not I want you guys to understand, I'm not trying to convince you of a truth. I'm really not a truth channel, although I talk about the truth all the time. I am a channel that's trying to give you wisdom. You can take it for whatever you want. So people been being told we're crazy and out of our minds for a long time. We used to be somebody who used to tell or used to control the tribes, people. But you can't let the elder do it today. They done burn them up with all these drugs, legal or not legal. I understand that. Some of us, because we were being protected, was able to get past it and through it. Now we're out the other side. Now we're trying to give you wisdom. Jesus will help give you the knowledge you need to get through what you need to do. But there's also people you can get wisdom through that has experienced this shit, knows how it's going. Why do you think they have people that they call generals in the military? Do you think they just pulled these guys up out of nowhere and what? But like the 3%ers do? Oh, you're my buddy, and I'm a general, so I'm going to make you a general too. Do you think they do shit like that? The 3%ers do that. Do you think the military does that shit? No. They want people that has experience and time. And people they know that will follow orders. Well, that's a difference between people that's giving you wisdom and people who are following orders that are in the position to give you wisdom. They choose not to give you wisdom. They're a part of the devil's herd, and they've probably signed a contract with Satan. I haven't. I continue to fight them. They've run me through a courtroom down there. I don't even think. Hey, I've been trying to switch from Uber Eats to DoorDash to try to make some money. But because I wouldn't wear a mask, these guys planted trumped up charges on me. And they all stuck, no matter what evidence amounted up into court. They stuck. So I now, after it took this world 60 years, folks, to put criminal charges on me. And it took Boardman Township to do it with a corrupted police officer, a corrupted judge, and a demon as a prosecutor in Mahoney County courtroom, criminal courtroom number 2. They finally put criminal charges on my ass. Now you look at my background, anybody. I've got fleeing from an officer because I was driving without a license. I was not legally licensed to drive in any state according to Ohio because I did not have a Ohio driver's license. They could not prove I lived in Ohio, but they filed the charges on me, all the evidence that I put into this court. They laughed at, scoffed at, because Jesus was standing with me and they were standing with Satan. I lost. So now, it took them 60 years, folks, to get criminal charges on my background to where I can't even drive for DoorDash, not Jordash. If you think I'm fucking kidding you, I can show you all the proof you want. Video evidence that they lied in court. video evidence that their own police officer that was ordered to arrest me saw my driver's license, saw it was legal, was told to write me a ticket for driving without a driver's license and refused it, stood in the witness stand, and his name is Nick Newland, in his police officer uniform that he arrested me in the witness stand, and told them all I had a driver's license. He saw it. It was good, and he did not write me a ticket because I had a good driver's license, and the court did not care. They still charged me for driving without a driver's license because I didn't have an Ohio driver's license. And all this stemmed off of me not wearing a mask, folks. All of it. A corrupted police officer that was a follower of my original Watachi Running Free channel heard me say they would never put a mask on me, and he wanted to be the one to mask me. He failed. Then their demon prosecutor came up. The first prosecutor refused to even run the charges. So they got old Demon 40 Chins. He's the one I beat with another video in that same courtroom. He wanted another piece of me, and justice and facts and truth be damned. In that courthouse, and everybody that works in it, including the sheriff's department, Sheriff Green, the bailiff, and all of them did everything they could to keep me from walking out of there. They even tried to put a mask on me inside that courtroom and failed. But they did not fall or fail with their trumped up charges. They piled them on me, and they put me on probation. And now at 60 years old, I have this criminal background in my history for not wearing a mask in Boardman Township, fucking with the wrong people. And I didn't fucking just sit down and plea bargain with them. I told the prosecutor I don't make deals with the devil's herd. They wanted to give me one of their bar members, lawyers, same people there are membership of to represent me in court. I said, nah, I got Jesus, and I will be representing me. Showed them videos, facts, cops backing me. Did not help. I lost in their evil courtroom, but I'm still Watachi, and I'm still running free. Their fines were paid within 2 weeks. I don't even have to see their probation officer because it was all about the money. Everything with this government's all about the money. I'm still telling you what they've done to me, whether you believe it or not. Don't care. Look it up. There's public records of it. But Sheriff Green and the bailiff and all them, they'll fight you to the death for it. They did me. They sold me a video or a disc of my arraignment that was blank for $5. I had to force the bailiff and the courts to make her give me a copy of it. And I have that recording. She had to go all the way to her own office computer because the other computers wouldn't open the disc either and read it. We ended up in her office. The bailiffs And she opened it up on her own computer and then claimed, see, it opened up the disc. That disc never opened because it was blank. I had many people check that disc out. I still have the disc. If this shit in this town goes any further, we know justice doesn't happen around here, so we'll have to bring in other people. But hell, I'm not even sure justice happens anywhere in this country anymore. It's packed with cowards. Ain't none of you done what I've done. None of you. I certainly don't see it or hear about it. I tell you guys about it and you think I'm a liar. That clown cop that trumped up all the charges, he says I get on here and I tell people all these lies. I don't have no health problem. All the shit I tell you is all lies. He's a Christian, supposedly. Any one of you? There's many people that know who I am, that'll back everything I'm telling you. Guarantee you, Boardman Township, Ohio, the police officers here, they know who I am. Half of them back me. At least. Their upper management don't like me because I talk about them. Don't care. Sheriff Green shouldn't even be in office. That clown, his election's coming up right now. These people around here, they'll show you exactly who they are if they re-elect that clown. Because he didn't do shit to stop what out of his mind DeWine did in the last year and a half. He didn't do shit. Boardman Township police backed him, prosecuted me over it. I got videos to prove it. I'm still out. You guys believe what you want. I don't even care. If you guys think I have a reason to lie to you, what am I getting for it? What am I getting for telling you guys the stuff I tell you? Money? From who? Show me anybody on there that's paying me to do what I do. I made $10 off of one guy gave me $10 and almost a year ago, right after my dad died, he gave me $10. I put up a PayPal account asking for money to go see and deal with lawyers to deal with my mom's problems. Now that my dad was gone, my sister done took control of everything. One guy gave me $10. That's what I've been paid in 20 years, 25 years of fighting. And my wisdom, not knowledge. I do get knowledge today, stuff I can't claim to have wisdom of, but that comes from Jesus. My knowledge comes from Jesus. My wisdom comes from my experiences and my age and my everything that's went on in my life. Ain't nobody paying me for nothing. I'm giving this stuff away. Giving it away. And you don't want it. I don't know, maybe if I start charging for it, you might want it. But that's not why I do this. I don't have things to sell. I don't have freedom chips. I don't have mugs. I don't have shirts. I don't have opinions to sell. I'm just trying to give you my wisdom. And my entire wisdom boils down to one thing: Jesus Christ. That's it, folks. Nothing else I could tell you would do you any good. That one thing, Jesus Christ, could save your soul. Take that for whatever you want. God loves you, and so do I. Till next time. If there is one, we'll catch you then.